I think for me it was not knowing, not being able to navigate through college. I think being a woman also is, like classes would tell you about all your statistics about how you're not going to and you should be as a Latina, you should be pregnant with like 3 kids. It's like there's always going to be odds against us or against any, honestly, under any underserved population. But I think there's at the end of it, like it's there, acknowledge it, but you don't have to accept it. Georgia State? Yeah. No, actually, I've worked at other institutions, and the feel is quite different. What I do know is, as a Latina, as I go up in education, my percentage goes down in a way. So I think the graduation rate for master's students is like a 12 or 13% of Hispanic Latina women that get a master's, and then those that get a doctorate is 4%. So what that means to me is that once I get my doctorate, and then I'm sitting at the seat of people that are making decisions for every college student in the institution, I feel very comfortable here. I feel very welcomed by my students, and I try to, do the same for my students to welcome them. And we have monthly conversations called Café con Lazo where we talk about something Latino related. It could be, I'm Latino but I don't speak Spanish. Okay, well, let's talk about that. It could be, what is Hispanic versus Latino? What is Latinx? Like, what is Afro Latino? Yeah. Like, we talk about every world that fits into our culture, because we have like 6 subcategories of Latino identities. So I try to create these programs to support every Hispanic Latino, whether Gazetta or not, because Georgia State is one of those inclusive institutions.
There's two kinds to me. When I'm at home, I'm Herman, but when I leave this house, I'm German. And I had that throughout public education and high school and so on. And then I came to Georgia State, and I went from not wanting to speak Spanish to feeling like I'm being celebrated just for being Hispanic. I love being able to just walk down the campus and hearing people having conversations between each other or on the phone and just hearing different languages, something like that. So it's really amazing that type of diversity that we have here at Georgia State.
As a professional, I can't contribute too much other than support my students. Right. So I can't truly share, but the frustration is definitely there, and I acknowledge every sentiment that comes across my desk because each sentiment is valued and it is important because it is a part of my student.
Even if it's not particularly my dog in the fight, like the Muslim ban or someone, I make it my dog in the fight. And I make myself part of the conversation, part of the crowd, and honestly, I say it's because of the diversity that we have here on campus. And so to have those things happen to people that I feel so personally connected with, then it's just sort of an atrocity to me.
Instead of focusing on what the event actually is, I take a look at what's happening around the issue, who's supporting, who's not supporting, what companies are in contribution to said event or not. And that's where I put my money into my activism.
I think for myself, what I've been doing for that is educating, trying to get to know the individual, what they think, and understanding how they feel, and then shifting their view around or trying to shift their view around just by having these conversations of trying to understand where they come from and trying to get them to understand where I come from as well.
Well, first it was very heartbreaking to hear that it was ending, and then it was even more heartbreaking to hear how quickly that deadline for renewal came up. It really put a lot of our students on our perimeter campuses in a really difficult situation. So although they have the scholarship, they're all considered out-of-state students. None of them are in-state. So now that they are navigating through that, now we need to figure out if they're no longer going to be eligible for DACA, and once it expires, then that means they have no more work visa. So those are things that we're having to navigate through. It's quite frustrating, but we're finding other ways to support our students. All we can do is take the information that we have to share with our students to empower them. They have to know that there's still a fighting chance, no matter how bleak it may seem. And a lot of our students have really, really, really strong stories, and we just have to be stronger for them.
I remember one of my mentees being undocumented, and I was not prepared for that because I had had friends who were older than me that tried to go to college, so I was a little bit aware of the situation for how it's like for them. But for me to be a mentor and to try and tell someone how great college is and how great Georgia State is, and then to be able to not to tell them that they can't go to Georgia State was absolutely heartbreaking for me. It's harder to be a leader in in the Latino community when they're taking away your tools.
We're still doing the same fight. Like we're still going through the same thing. And now we're looking at our daughter like she's got both of these worlds and she's gonna have to navigate both worlds of Latino and Black and Colombian and American. So we're really aware of all the identities. But I think at the end of the day, it's making sure that you don't fall into those statistics, that you do your part to your community, whether it's, servicing, educating. It's just super important to be as connected as possible to your community, to your identity, and to yourself. Because if you can't connect with yourself, then you are almost not good to anybody. If you don't know yourself, you don't know how to help, how to contribute, then you're not part of the solution.
I implore you, I beseech you, to say what you mean in a manner that bespeaks the determination with which you believe it. Because contrary to the wisdom of the bumper sticker, it is not enough these days to question authority, but you have to speak with it too.